Hi. I'd like to start by saying that this is my intro to psychology project that I'm doing.
Aw, dang it!
And if you're seeing this and you somehow didn't expect me to preface this, that means you're not my professor, and I swear I don't want to only try to make these types of videos. But the longer I spend in university learning about these higher level education bits that apply to my life, like for instance, Shakespeare and how it could be adapted. To deny the original phrasing and to even replace a word within this play would be blasphemous, and I will personally see to it that you are smitten by the gods and banished to a realm forgotten by time. The more I want to share them like this. And by share them like this, I mean the more I'm given projects like this by my professors and want to turn it into a video that I can make for laughs and get some points. So today I'm going to be focusing on psych stuff, and while I have talked about psychology in the past...
Sorry, I love psych, and I really wanted to share that. That was super cool.
I want to, this time, talk about something that's actually useful in your day-to-day life. And honestly, considering the amount of late-night messages I get from friends who should totally be asleep for their morning classes, I think that this could probably help a lot of people. And that means it's time to start talking about how to get better at sleeping. I don't have much time to make these graphics. This is as good as you're getting. Okay, so what is sleep? But to get further into specifics, it's mainly categorized by a lack of physical activity and lowered awareness, which means that if you're tossing and turning a lot in your sleep, or aware that you're tossing and turning in your sleep, you probably want to try to improve that. But that's beside the point. If you're watching this video and are trying to get it, chances are you're already aware that you're having trouble sleeping. So let's try to share some tips that I think you probably have already heard, but hopefully I have some more light to shed on them. And speaking of shedding some light on it, that's our first topic. Let me actually try to get a little bit more comfy. It's going to be a sleeping video. There we go. This is going to be the least professional video I've ever done, and I'm so down for it. Changes in lighting and the environment are going to regulate your body and tell it when to sleep and when to wake up. And that's affecting your circadian rhythm, which means that when you're trying to go to sleep, you want to minimize the amount of blue light you're exposing to, which means turning off screens and phones. See, that's a major one, but in the words of Brian David Gilbert, who inspired this entire video format, the issue with that is that
it sucks!
You're not gonna stop doom scrolling on Twitter just because somebody told you that it's gonna affect your circadian rhythm, whatever the heck that means. I know you, and I'm just like you. I mean, I have so many lights blaring on in my room, it's like I'm trying to fall asleep in the middle of an arcade. The actual tip I have for you requires us to delve into what a circadian rhythm actually is. The circadian rhythm is simply what regulates your body to be asleep and awake. Let's try talking about this by going over generally the two states of body that you want to be in when it comes to this. Awake and conscious, and not that. During the day, when you're awake and sitting through your classes or doing whatever it is that you do, you probably want to be awake, alert, and, energetic, able to move, which is the opposite of not that. When you're trying to go to sleep, you want to be relaxed, calm, and not moving that much. Your body's circadian rhythm is essentially the passive way that it regulates itself in order to transition from awake to not that, and back again. However, it's trying to have as little transitional period as possible so that you stop wasting money on those "don't talk to me until I've had my coffee" mugs that you keep buying. There's more to talk about here, but the bottom line is that while managing your blue light intake before bed is important, it's also important to expose yourself to bright lights during the day when you want to be awake. That means turning on the lights in your room and keeping your windows open whenever you're cooped up trying to grind out those sweet victory royales.
That's
W.
Goku's gonna burn out.
I sometimes forget that these videos are going to be viewed by professionals in their field. Speaking of your statistical tendency to spend 9 hours playing video games in your room, let's talk about your routine. Because naturally, messing with your circadian rhythm is going to do all that, but how are you going to get those 8 hours of sleep that you all crave? My answer is, don't. Once again, if you're coming to me for help, chances are you've heard this 8-rule hour all the time, and I'm here to tell you that there's something a little bit more important that I want you to focus on. See, the amount of sleep that you require changes as you grow older, and it's never a set in stone rule for how much sleep you exactly need. This means that the amount of sleep that you're getting is probably enough from you, and as long as you're not spending really short amount of time sleeping, like, snack, then likely you're not missing out on a major amount of your sleep, and sleeping in more and getting more hours isn't going to do you much good. However, that circadian rhythm is a rhythm, which means that you have to stay on tempo, and it's not like band class where you can play quarter notes like they're half notes and look at rests as if they're suggestions. This means the rhythm at which you're going to sleep and going to be awake needs to try and be at the same time relatively every 24-hour cycle. The term biological clock gets thrown around a lot with circadian rhythm, and it's essentially the innate sense of time that your body has for when you're going to be going to sleep and when you're awake. That means your circadian rhythm is trying to predict when that's going to happen and regulate your body accordingly. This changes from person to person, and it can be conditioned, so it's just important that you set it how early or how late, but you need to be consistent. This means committing to a bedtime even when you're not really that tired, and waking up the same for every morning class. So, if you have an 8 a.m. class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that means getting up at 7 a.m. every day. And for one final tip, let's talk about sleep cycles. For all my professors, I'm actually so sorry, this is not going to come across at all for you. But for all my midnight gamers that are grinding out their last bits of Pantheon and trying to beat Proto Bahamut and Snack, this part's for you because you need to think about this like you think about damage cycles. And that means we're hitting the books. Actually, I feel like professors would be the most likely to hit the books. You have this rhythm that you hit with your damage cycles and when you're popping cooldowns or swapping weapons, and you want to keep that rhythm as tight and concise as you can without messing up its flow. Sleep cycles are somewhat similar. You have 4 stages that you're going through to achieve all of your sleep benefits, and then once you finish that 4th stage, you reset back to the top. This is going to keep repeating over and over until your DPS is over. Your sleep is over. I just finished a Master Crota and I'm really going through it. The point is, you're going to be moving through these cycles from REM to NREM 3, and while I don't want to bore you with the specifics of each of them, it's important to note that if you wake up in the middle of one of them, you have to start at the beginning. This means you have to make sure to avoid AoEs and make sure that your tanks are taking the damage, and I'm doing it again, god damn! What that means is that being interrupted and getting woken up is a huge blow to your sleep quality. And during these 90 minutes of time, if you're woken up near the end of it, you're losing out on a lot of those benefits. Rather than spending time in bed getting a middling amount of sleep, you want to have a nice, deep, uninterrupted sleep for about 4 to 5 of these cycles. And ideally, you want to try to wake up at the beginning of one of these. This means assuming approximately 90 minutes for your sleep cycle and trying to wake up either with an alarm or by yourself at one of these time periods that would be at the end of one of those cycles. So those are the 3 things I want you to work on. Light, specifically seeing bright lights when awake as opposed to just dark lights when asleep. Routine, and making sure that you're consistent with when you go to bed and when you wake up. And sleep cycles, making sure that you're hitting those 4 to 5 cycles and not getting interrupted. That's all for this one, because the longer I go on, the more likely it is that my professors forget about the part where I was actually trying to be informative. So like, comment, ring that bell, whatever these YouTubers say at these times, and make sure that you subscribe, because if you don't, you'll never sleep again. Bye! Hi, thank you just somehow making to the end of this video that was once again a project for university. I don't know why you're still watching. Wait, that's not directed at my professors. If you're my professor, go grade now. This is not for you. For anybody else who's watching this, including the friends who I've talked to about this and had to tell them, yes, I will show you the video even though I'm making fun of you in it the whole time. Snack, oh no. Thank you for watching. I genuinely have a lot of fun making these things, and I really want to make more that are less school focused and more just fun focused, and I promise you those are on the way as soon as I get out of this house. I'm moving back after college is over in like 2-3 weeks or something now, so hopefully you'll be able to see some more from me because I'm going to start streaming again, I'm going to start making videos again, it'll be great. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to start editing, of course, but I also have to like wake up. I genuinely started this video from bed because I just decided that would be more accurate to how this was. I was literally method acting, trying to tell you how to get better at sleep. And if you can hear from my voice, it didn't work. But I'm gonna try to wrap this up before my roommates get mad at me for yelling, or before I fall asleep. So, thank you. Goodbye.
You don't want to be like this.